Did Jesus have anything to say about abortion? Yes, I do think so. Here's what he said. He said that in heaven, the angels of the children. Now here we find something that had not been revealed to us before and has not been revealed to us since. That each child has an angel assigned to him. And these angels that are assigned to the children look directly into the face of God the Father. In other words, the angels don't have to go through other angels to get to the Heavenly Father. They look right into the very face of the Heavenly Father, something that mortal humans are not allowed to do. And Jesus also said that a very special judgment awaits those who hurt one of God's little ones. And folk, they are God's, they are not yours. I want to remind you, that body that you want to kill is not your body. That body belongs to the baby whom you're trying to kill. So basically you are committing a murder. But I'll let you chew on that one for a while, but then back to the subject. It's like in heaven, all of heaven knows instantly when one of God's little ones is hurt. And the person who hurts them is promised a very special judgment, a very special punishment. Their punishment will be, among other things, is that they will wish they had never been born. They will want to and wish they could trade places with those persons who are unborn, but they won't be able to. Now it's interesting that in the connection of Jesus' talk about the little ones, that he makes reference to the unborn here, that the unborn get treated better than the persons who hurt them. Something I hope that those of you who favor abortion will chew on. Abortion is not a right. Abortion is wrong. The baby, again, that body belongs to the baby. It is not your body. It's the baby's body. And it also does not give you more control of your body. It actually encourages you to have less control of your body. I hope you will think this through, and I hope you will reconsider. There has been a lot said about abortion lately. The debate promises to go on, a debate that was reignited by a recent Supreme Court decision. But for all the talk I've heard about abortion, during the last 60 or so years that I've been hearing talk about abortion, there's one thing that I have not heard, and that is, what effect will abortion have on our military might? Now, I have heard talk about a population implosion, and believe me, I watched a YouTube video a few weeks back where the man said, it's terrible, our population is going to implode. Yes, and we're going to really have to take a lower lifestyle of living because of a population implosion. But then he said, the sacred right of abortion for a woman, we must not in any way alter or change. This is before the recent Supreme Court decision that overturned Roe v. Wade. Anyway, he did not seem to realize the illogic of his statement. But what I want to zero in on is, what about our military preparedness? What about our preparedness for war? We have aborted more than 60 million babies. Of that 60 million babies, at least probably 40 million of them would have grown up to become taxpayers, and possibly 3 or 4 million of them could have become soldiers in our military. Now, if they had lived, that is, if they had lived, they did not live, are we going to face an enemy with a weakened population, weakened by the fact that we have killed so many of our babies? I want to remind you that the nation that seems the closest to becoming our enemy, Russia. Russia outlawed abortion many, many years ago. 2 generations ago, Russia outlawed abortion. Now, Russia lost a lot of men during World War II, but World War II has been over with for 70 some years. If the Russians populate and we Americans don't, eventually they will overtake us again in their population. You notice I said again because during the days when Russia was the Soviet Union outnumbered the United States in people. But I want to point to another nation that's even more likely to become our enemy than Russia, and that is China. Now you'll say China aborted a lot of its babies, but in recent years China backed off on that stance. They now allow couples to have more than 2 babies per couple because they realized that limiting it to 2 babies was creating a lot of havoc with their population. So they now do not practice abortion, at least enforced abortion, anymore. Therefore, China already has a bigger population than the United States. What if they were to continue to get more and more people? Would they defeat us in a war? Now, a few years back, the Australian government published a document in which they said that they believed that China would defeat the United States in a war. Would they? What would happen to the United States if it lost a war? Well, there is a good chance that we could be enslaved. We Americans who are used to having freedom would not like living under the control of Russia. We would probably like living under the control of China even less. Now, what if Russia and China combine together along with other countries that have outlawed abortion? Iran is a known enemy of the United States. Iran might not could defeat us by itself, but what if Iran joined with Russia and China and North Korea and a bunch of other Middle Eastern countries? The United States simply could not handle it. What about help from Europe? The Europeans are in no shape to assist us right now. Simply put, several European nations only have a token army and not a big army, and they would not fight with us to help us defeat the Russians. The fact of the matter is the United States is highly vulnerable, and I believe that the time is going to come when we're going to miss those 60 million people, and they were people, 60 million plus people whom we have killed for no good reason other than the fact that they were an inconvenience to the mothers, a burden, so we decided we wanted to get rid of them. Again, this is something that I simply do not hear talked about during the abortion debate. Nothing is said about these people who were aborted and the wealth they could have created if they had been allowed to live. I'm going under the assumption that each person on average contributes more than he consumes, and therefore what our country needs and what the whole world needs is more people and not less. Now, this goes contrary to what you may have heard, but folk, if we're ever going to go out and establish colonies on the moon, colonies on Mars, if we're ever going to develop some of the technology that we have dreamed about, we are going to need people, and more people. And instead of getting them, we have tried to limit our population, and especially the worst culprit is abortion, and the next worst culprit is the fact that a lot of our men and women today do not like each other, therefore they're not getting married, with the result that our population is going to implode on us and our lifestyle is going to go down with the implosion of our population.